Tonight, the city of Lagos once again has all roots.
Be the first to know
CORETV News
from the north, south, east, west, and around Africa. We break the news.
One Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are CORETV News.
Welcome to CORETV.
A 24-hour news station.
Welcome. It's interesting to have you today. It's Democracy Day, 29th of May, 2014. And today on the program, we are looking at Democracy Day, Nigeria, between 1999 and 2014. 15 years of uninterrupted democratic dispensation in our nation. Welcome to Core Digest. I am Sheyi Martins and Nifemi is here with me. Nifemi.
Yeah, once again, let me say Happy Democracy Day to you.
Indeed. Exciting day, I must say, and celebrating 15 years of uninterrupted democracy. How have we fared? The journey so far. That's what we're looking on in the program this morning, between 1999 and 2014. How have we fared? What would you say?
Yeah, I am persuaded that in our reflection of the things that have transpired, in our 15 years of uninterrupted democracy, we must also bear in mind to critically evaluate what has transpired in our 54 years of independence as a nation. You recall that the military rule began in 1966 and was only interrupted only for a brief period of democracy between 1979 to 1983. By the time you do the calculation, you notice that 16 minus 54 thereabout is not... Doing the maths, you notice that Nigeria as a nation has most of its independent life been under military rule. So in our evaluation and in our reflection of the situation at hand, we must put that at the back of our minds and not be quick to compare ourselves with nations like America that have enjoyed democracy for donkey years.
Well, precisely over 200 years, we want to say. And indeed, but all said and done, would you suggest that we are a little impatient in the democratic dispensation, that Nigerians are impatient in wanting to see rapid development beyond what we have in the circumstance?
I wouldn't say impatient. I would rather say that we suddenly woke up from decades of sleep, you know, as Nigerians.
Or slumber.
Or slumber, you know, better put that way. Nigerians seem to be a nation, sometimes around 2012 or thereabout, Nigerians were accorded that title of being the happiest people in the world, irrespective of the economic situation. Come Saturdays, people are still going to do Owambe, borrow money, the money that they can't earn to, you know, throw parties. But I think that recently, we woke up from that political slumber. And that is what I think many analysts have called impatience on the part of Nigerians. We woke up and we began asking ourselves the question that with the immeasurable human and natural resources in Nigeria, Nigeria as a nation has no excuse whatsoever not to have been able to provide these three basic necessities of life. What are they? Power, water, and, you know, permit me to add good roads or basic infrastructure. Billions of dollars in foreign oil reserve. I mean, we're talking about a nation that has almost all share of natural resources. Name them all over the world.
Indeed. Every analyst or political postulator will tell you that this nation have been sleeping, like we said, in slumber. Our Governor General of New South Wales said about Nigeria that Nigeria is the only nation amongst a committee of nations its size that is yet to fly. What does that mean? As the nation Nigeria is comparable to countries and nations like Singapore, Bangladesh, Malaysia, and all of those what we now regard as Asian tigers that are now
springing up,
supposedly developing economics. Why has Nigeria not gone that far in par with some of these countries that the governor of New South Wales was referring to? In areas such as our economy, for instance, we want to describe what the Minister of Finance and the coordinating Minister of Economy did say once, just about a year ago, that this nation, as it were, is lagging behind other nations because of the state of the direction in which our economy has been put. And, you know, taking it seriously, that he actually did raise the alarm that the revenue accruing from federal accounts was fast dwindling on account of an estimated 400,000 barrels of crude oil lost daily. Knowing that the Nigerian nation relies very heavily on oil exportation, as it were. But we are losing that colossal amount of oil daily, not only to wastage, but also to theft.
And vandals.
And vandalism. So these are the kind of situation we're looking at. But 15 years down the line, 15 years down the line in the course of building a true democracy, some will say it is getting worse.
Shay, have you taken your time to critically examine the African map? You put the African map on this page of paper and you turn it like this, and it looks like a shotgun. And just at the trigger position, you find the map of Nigeria.
That's where it is.
Prophetically, some say that that means that Nigeria happens to be the economic and the financial, the socio-political trigger for the African continent. And we have the capacity to make it happen.
That is why the world has not taken Nigeria for granted. The reason why they cannot take Nigeria for granted is not just our strategic position, but because Nigeria portends to the world one of the unbelievable economies yet to grow. And the developing nation, as it were, Nigeria needed to be helped to get to where it ought to be. People talk a lot about leadership, but what about the followership? There's so much resilience in this nation that what's you were showing when we were doing the dailies earlier on, what happened with Egypt and countries like Thailand, where the military came back. It's no longer fashionable to have the military take over in any nation. But at the same time, it is important to know that Nigeria cannot afford
to fail.
And situations as it happened in the Arab Spring cannot happen in Nigeria.
Ultimately.
Why? Because take a look at, I mean, it's history, and it's so very close to us. Look at all those nations that had the uprising. Tunisia, Algeria, Libya, Egypt, name them. How are they faring today? Can we afford that? No nation, even all of our compatriots, all of our developing partnership nations all over the world, that is the developed nation, the America, the Britain, will not allow Nigeria to go along that trend. You
know, amazingly, ultimately, many believe that everything rises and falls on leadership, and that all that Nigeria as a big nation, and that's not in quote, or if I put it in capital letter, a big nation has all the potentials to evolve as world economy, not only on papers, but to an extent that we're going to have the average Nigerian populace have access not only to the basic amenities that we're talking about, but of course to the amazing, abounding wealth of the Nigerian nation. It's Democracy Day 2014, 15 years of democracy in Nigeria. We'll take a short break on Cold Digest and we'll be back with you for more. Don't go away.
CORETV News, expanding your view.